just want to talk to you about something that seems to be ever present. Ever present. So it probably needs to be addressed because it's always around, it's always being spoken, it's always being dealt with. Let's have a little fun with words, all right? The word we're going to talk about today, don't all of you run away at once, is blame. Blame. Do we ever lay the blame anywhere? Why do we have this need to blame someone or something? I don't know. Let's dive into it. All right. First, let's just define it. Blame. It's defined as to find fault with, to hold responsible. An expression of disapproval. Now, this is as a noun. The other two are verbs. This is as a noun. An expression of disapproval or reproach. Okay, so let's dive into what reproach is. An expression of rebuke or disapproval. Okay, a cause or occasion of discredit or disgrace. Blame. Where are we laying the blame? Are we laying the blame? It seems like the first thing that happens naturally is we blame somebody for whatever happened. We blame somebody. It seems like, now sometimes we blame ourselves. Sometimes it just seems like, oftentimes, we want to blame somebody else. Somebody else's fault. It's always somebody else's fault. And I'm sure you've met those people. It's never their fault. It's always somebody else's fault. What does that say about us? So let's look into that a little closely. I like to look at the archaic definitions, the obsolete definitions, because I'm sorry, but this English language has evolved so much, and the society has evolved or fallen so much that meanings of things get changed and things are used very loosely. But let's look at that. The archaic definition of blame is fault or sin. So now let's look at who sinned. Who are we blaming? Who sinned? Let's dive into that. Now, I'm not saying somebody didn't do wrong. They may have wronged you. No doubt about it. That happens. But what happens then? Do we dwell on that forever? Do we blame them forever? Do we blast them to everyone in that blame, in that fault, in that sin? Always be quick to turn the tables. What if it was me? Would I want that handled that way? And then wait, what if it was me? Are we holding ourselves accountable in any way? Or are we just instantly laying the blame off on someone else, something else, some different thing other than us, other than ourselves? Are we holding ourselves accountable? Now, don't go over the extreme and think that you're completely worthless. That's not what I'm saying, that you're always the one at fault. If you have that mentality that you can't do anything right, then you've probably experienced an abusive relationship. Your self-esteem is probably damaged. You probably need to look into that a little closer. And I am absolutely not saying that nothing happened. I'm not belittling what happened. If something happened and you have someone to blame, I get it. I get it. But what happens then? Okay, if it is a fault, if it is a sin, what would you want to happen if it was you? Let's go on to another word. Forgive. But I can't. What they did was so bad. Maybe it was. Maybe it was. But let's work through that. Let's let some healing happen. Forgive means to cease to feel resentment against. Now, too many times we say, oh, I forgive them. But every time we hear their name, every time we see them, every time somebody else brings them up in conversation, we just cringe. I'm sorry, but you have not forgiven them. Because forgive actually means not to just say some words, to throw something out there, an idea, but it means to cease, stop. Stop feeling resentment for them. Pardon them. Pardon them. What is a pardon? Like when a governor or a president pardons a prisoner, they let them go. They set them free. They erase the fault. They erase the sin. They erase the blame. It no longer exists. So I ask you again, have you really, truly forgiven them? Again, I'm not saying what they did wasn't wrong, but have you truly forgiven them? Because let me tell you this, you don't just set them free, it sets you free. It sets you free from the bondage of what happened, from the damage of what happened, from the wrong that really did occur. It sets you free. You're not bound to that anymore. You don't have to live in that pain. You don't have to live in that place anymore. You don't. You don't. So let me ask you this. Too many times something happens, and who do we blame? What if our circumstances are so overwhelming, and then we turn, even suddenly, and we blame God? Or what if it was bad enough that we can't understand it, so we blame God? What if it hurt so deeply that it shouldn't have happened? And we have this all-knowing God, all capable, all powerful, so we blame him. Well, he was the only one that could have prevented it. Why did he let it happen? We blame God. So let's look back again. And I'm not saying this doesn't happen. I'm not faulting you forever because it happens. I'm just saying, I've done it. I'm real. These are real emotions. These are real feelings. These are real things that happen. Why? And what do we do when it does? So if we're blaming God, let's go back to what blame means. We find fault with God. We find sin in God. We disapprove of God. Really? Let's break this down. Is that truth? Is that right and real? And if not, where does that come from? Why are we thinking that? Why are we feeling that? Why did it happen so suddenly? Where is our discernment? When we're feeling all this rise up, when we feel all these emotions, when we feel all this blame coming out, why? Let's dive into that deeper. 1 John 4:1 says this, Beloved, I was talking to you, deeply loved and greatly cherished, beloved, believe not every spirit. Wait, what? Yeah. Believe not every spirit, but try the spirits, whether they are of God. Verse 3, and every spirit that confesseth not that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh is not of God. And this is that spirit of Antichrist. Wait, what? Yeah. There are spirits that are whispering to you, whether it is in your own mind, whether it is in dreams, whether it is in someone else close to you that is not of Christ. In our own thoughts, that is the huge fight right there. But that's why this happens so suddenly. Recognize, use your discernment, get in the word. When something like that's coming against you, get in the word, get in the truth, get surrounded. And the first thing it'll tell you to do is don't worship, don't pray, don't read the Bible, don't go to church, don't be around those believers. It's going to try to isolate you. That's demonic. That is spirits trying to pull you away. Like it might be one thought, one idea, one resentment, one bit of unforgiveness, one instance of blame. And that's all it takes. It's like the one coyote that comes up to lure you to, and so you're fighting this one and all the rest of the pack comes from behind and gets you. You're done. So test those spirits. Don't believe every thought. Don't believe every statement that is given to you. Remember this. Everything is spiritual. Everything. There's not coincidence. There's not just emotions. Everything is spiritual. Everything is spiritual. Approach every subject that way. Every thought that way. Every emotion that way. Every decision that way. Everything is spiritual. What's really happening here? Okay? break it down, figure it out. And remember, it's either Christ or it's Antichrist. It's either godly or it's not. Stop muddling the waters. It's like it is or it isn't. It's working for good or it's working for evil. And that counts with what's working in us too. Okay? Is your blame in the right place? Are you attacking this the right way? Are you holding yourself accountable? Or are you just looking for someone else to blame? Are we looking at what really caused the problem? And if it was something that came against you, was something that was bad, what do you do to fix it? What do you do to protect yourself? What are you coming against? And there is more power in you than you realize. Don't stay in that mentality. Don't stay in that place. Don't stay in that hurt. Don't stay in that situation, that circumstance. Don't remain a victim. You were created for more. Let him heal you. Let him show you how to rise above this. Sometimes you have to be vulnerable to be victorious.